Well, how about this one? This story takes place at a little place called Lovell Canyon. It's out towards Pahrump, an area that we used to all frequent back in the day. Went out there all the time. I mean, Aaron and I went out there a bunch. There was the time when we went out there and got surrounded by coyotes, like a lot of them. The more I yelled and barked and hollered at them, the closer they got. It was crazy. A lot of day trips, going out and shooting and stuff. I did a solo trip out there a couple times. We did one where we went with Dee's family, his mom and his son and his buddy and all that. I did a video on that. That one's called Outdoor Friends. Anyway, on this one time, when I was out there by myself, I spent 3 days out there, and I heard this weird animal. I can't describe what it sounded like. It wasn't like, it sounded humanoid, but it was making the strangest sounds. And then Derek took he spent like 2 weeks out there, and he heard it too. And I remember we always collaborated about what we thought it sounded like, and I told him that I had a little blurb on it, and he never saw it. Here, I'll play it for you.
Pretty warm out, and I hear an animal out there I haven't heard before. I've heard him a couple times. I'm not going to try to describe it, but I'm noticing it. So, but anyway.
So it was that. So this one time, Dee just says, "Let's go." And I'm like, "All right." So he's got this pickup truck. We load it up with the camping gear. We just blow out. We don't even invite anybody. We just go. So we head out, and he decides, "Hey, let's go to the very back." Because years before, he'd been back in that area. He said it's really cool back in there. And so when you get to the very end of this road, there's like this ranch. It's really nice. And then you hang a left and you start heading up again. So we start heading up again, and it's just rough, We're just bouncing all over the place, spinning the wheels. We're froden. We go till we can't go any further. We turn around, and there was a little spot that we passed. So we settled for it. We come pulling in. There's this nice open area, and in the very back end of it, it just drops into this cavern. So got this drop, and I set my tent up right before the drop off, and I got this cool view, and I get my gear all ready and get my chair out and crack open the beers back when I drank, and just having a good time. And we got all set up, and we're throwing the football around, shooting BB guns. I'm hitting golf balls. We popped the metal detectors out. We're just doing it up. So it starts getting dark. We get a fire going, and out of nowhere, Dee's like, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I thought I saw something." He's like, "I swear I saw somebody." And I thought I saw, like, out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw somebody by his tent. So we're kind of on alert, and we make dinner. I think we had our famous, he brought some T-bone steaks, and we wrapped them up in foil, and I was putting barbecue sauce in there and beer and stuff, and it's one of our famous dinners out there, and a potato salad, and of course I'm just drinking like crazy. Gets dark. About an hour after dark, Dee's out. He's gone. And I may or may not even fall asleep. I never slept well in tents, but I'm in there reading and listening to music and stuff. And I decided to crack open one last beer, and I'm buzzed. I'm flying high, feeling mean. And I put my earbuds on, and I'm walking around out there with the earphones on, beer in the other hand, just rocking out. Just wandering around the forest, So I turn in. And I did fall asleep on that particular trip. Like I said, sometimes I just can't sleep in a tent, but I did. I knocked out. And I don't know, about 4 in the morning it starts raining. And it's raining pretty good. It wakes me up. And luckily I had the rain fly on the tent, and then I'm up. Just trying to go back to sleep. Sometimes the rain kind of helps you sleep, sometimes it keeps you awake. You know, I'm kind of in between. So it's just starting to get light. The rain's starting to die out. And I hear footsteps. But, you know, not that crackly footstep on dirt. It's like muddy out. And I hear this. And then stop. Stop. I'm thinking maybe it's D. But I can hear him sleeping in his tent. Like, that ain't D. So I grab my rifle, which, you know, I got it loaded, cocked, you know, it's ready to rock. And I'm holding it kind of where I'm guessing this person is. Hear it again. And it's getting closer. And I'm thinking, all these scenarios are running through my mind. I'm like, if this guy's got a gun too, he knows right where I'm at. I'm a sitting duck. I'm not really sure where he's at, and I don't have any windows in this tent. It's just a little pup tent. And the zipper is to my left, facing out, but this guy's over here. I got no eyes on him. And I'm not, and I remember thinking, if he takes one more step closer, I gotta say something. Like, halt, who goes there, or something, or, you know, I figured if I cocked a gun or something, you know, it might scare him off, you know, or I don't know if he's got a weapon. And I'm just like tripping out a little bit here. I'm just sitting there waiting, and I edged over out away from the center of the tent, thinking if they did fire on me by chance, probably shoot in the middle. So I'm over here, and it stops. I never heard him walk away. So like 20 minutes go by. And I'm like, so finally I unzip the zip, and I stick my head out real slow, and I don't see anybody. So by around that time, sun's starting to come out. D gets up. And I tell him about it, and he comes over, and there were footsteps in the mud. So I wasn't making this up. I wasn't hearing things. There was somebody there. These were fresh, and they were Bigfoot. It's a big dude. And I was thinking about how the night before we could hear people partying, but it was weird. It wasn't like your normal weekend partiers. It was strange. And I was making this story up, kind of, to D. I was like, I wonder if there's people that just live out in the wilderness, you know, and they just kind of live out there. And I called them the other people. I wonder if there's like these other people that just live out in the woods, and, you know, they're homeless, but they're not, and they don't live in society. And I'm kind of making up a story about it. And I was like, man, one of them other people was definitely here, you know. And he's like, you remember what I said? We thought we saw somebody the night before. And I was like, so I'm certain of it. And then it dawns on me. I'm like, I'm sitting there walking around with headphones on, rocking out in the shrubs. You know, it's not really forested up there. It's not high enough, but it's these, you know, these big mulberry, I don't know what they're called, these bushes. And I'm like, I was vulnerable. I could have been attacked, and just, that'd have been it. And I'm just like, man. So the sun comes out, and we're talking about it, and we're looking at the tracks, and we're trying to figure it out. And I make some coffee, and we're whipping up some breakfast. I'm sitting in front of my tent, and Dee's sitting kind of across from me, and he goes, dude, did you see it? He goes, look. And I look back, and there's this big plume of dust. Now, it was muddy out, but it wasn't so muddy. I don't know. It wasn't like soaking because the sun had come out. It was dust. Right off from the back of my tent. And I'm thinking, someone just like, did someone fire at me? Did someone take a shot at me? He thought maybe it was an animal or some big insect or something. We're speculating, and I'm like, Oh my gosh. And then we hear this noise, this rumbling sound. Can't describe it to you. And I'm thinking, maybe it's a pack of wild horses down in the ravine, but I couldn't hear any hoofs. Just heard, it was the strangest thing. And by then, we're like, let's just get out of here. This is just too much. And we just packed up and boogied out of there. And that's what happened on that trip. And it seems like every time we went anywhere, just about any time, whether it was with Aaron or Dee or the gang, our buddies or musician friends, every time something crazy always happened. And that's what happened on this one.